All right, so welcome everybody here to Golden Era one more day, and we have here Dave McWater, who is the manager of Teofimo Lopez. David, thank you for being here.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right, David, I have a few questions for you. We love boxing here in Golden Era. Oops, sorry, let me see if this is connected. Okay, you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, so I had a few questions for you, and how long have you been working with Teofimo Lopez as a manager?
Since 2015, so a long time, 9 years.
Wow, that is a long time. And is it hard to be a boxing manager?
Well, it's expensive and it's time consuming. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's easy. It just depends.
It just depends. Okay. Okay. So here's a few of the questions that I have that, a little bit harder, but it's why did you fight Jermaine Ortiz instead of Arnold Barboza, who is Teofimo's mandatory fight? What was the purpose on that? Um, I, 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 c- I can't really hear you, David. Um, David, I can't really hear you. I don't know if you can hear me. Yeah, David, you hear me? Yeah. Let me see something. Yeah, David, I can't hear you. You can come back if you want. Just relog in because I can't really hear you. Let me see here. Yeah, I can't hear David. Let me see. Let me see if I can see what's going on. David, you can hear me, right? Can you hear me? Okay, I think I'm gonna redo it again. I'm gonna redo it again because I can't hear you, so I'll redo it again. Let me see 1 second here. Let me see here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. 1 second here. Uh, we're just waiting for David to come back. He had a problem with his audio, so he'll be back a second. So let's get David here. Let's see here. All right. So yeah, we have Dave Metwater here, and he's the manager of Teofimo Lopez. So we got him here. Wait him here to come back. Let's see. All right, so he's coming back. He's trying, so we'll have him here in a second. Got Udis in the house, Joseph Jackson, Julio Rodriguez. All right. We got all these people in the house. Just waiting for David to log on in. Ready to come on in. Let's see. John Ortega, editor here in Golden Era. What's up, John? How you doing? And as soon as you get in, just put a like, subscribe if you like what we have here. Here's David. Let's see if we can hear him now.
Can you hear me now?
All right, David. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, great.
Perfect. All right. So let's go back and track. And so my question was, David, why what was the purpose of fighting Jermaine Ortiz? A lot of people are a little bit confused about that. What was the purpose of fighting him instead of Arnold Barboza, who was the mandatory?
Because Barboza signed with Golden Boy, so he was no longer in house. Ortiz was a top-ranked fighter.
And that was the reason. Like, did you guys try to talk to him or make
Try to talk to who? To Barboza?
Yeah, or Barboza sent like anything to make the fight happen?
No, I mean, he had just signed with Golden Boy, so then now that meant going and getting a whole thing set up with Golden Boy. It just wasn't going to happen in the short time frame we had to make this fight.
Do you feel like Golden Boy fighters are not making the best fights, especially in that stable? Do you think it's kind of accurate to say that?
No, I mean, they just had Alexis Rocha fight our guy Giovanni Santillan. That was a big risk for them. It didn't pay off, but it was a big risk for them.
Okay, because it seems that a lot of people, especially in the boxing world, are complaining that Golden Boy are not making the best fights, especially like Jaime Munguia right now is not in the situation. And there's you have what was his name, Gilberto Ramirez. So it seems like because I just want to ask you that question. All right.
I mean, besides that, Garcia just fought Davis, and now he's going to fight Haney. I mean, who's Munguia supposed to fight? None of those 168s are fighting each other.
Right.
So, I don't think it's a problem specific to Golden Boy by any means.
Okay. So what fights does Teofimo Lopez want?
Well, he's been calling out Crawford for a while now. So I think pretty clearly he wants the Crawford fight. Obviously, Haney, Garcia, Tank are all guys that get talked about a lot. But, I mean, he's had his mind and heart set on Crawford for a while now. And he, last time I saw him so set on a guy like that, it was Loma. And we know what happened there. So when he's set on a guy, it's usually for a reason.
Okay. So as you said, Teofimo mentioned that he wanted to fight Terence Bud Crawford. And that's a high, like that's a very difficult fight for Teofimo Lopez. Have you guys contacted Bud's team to make the fight happen?
I don't believe that has occurred yet. Obviously, we can't just do things unilaterally because he has a promoter. We work with Top Rank. So there's issues involved there. But no, there's not been a formal offer. We don't even have his next formal date yet. And Bud is still somewhat hamstrung with the rematch clause with Spence. So, no, there's no negotiations or anything. But that's definitely the fight he would like. And once the logistics are out of the way, I'm sure we will make an effort to make that.
When do you think your guys make that? When do you think that's going to happen?
I have no idea. No idea.
Even if
we're expecting him to fight in June and then probably come back in December. Hopefully it'll be one of those two, but I doubt it'll be the June fight because of the Spence situation.
And it seems like Spence is not going to fight him for what I've read. That he's just not making weight. And did he ever try to contact you guys? Like did Terence Crawford? Yeah.
No,
he didn't. Okay. All right. And here's another thing. It was Teofimo Lopez. If he were to fight Terence Crawford, will he actually stay at 147? If he were to go and fight Terence Crawford, is he?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, certainly if he won, he would, because then he would defend the titles. But yeah, that's a good question, and I don't think he or I have planned that far ahead.
Okay, so okay,
He
yeah,
makes
because
140 pretty easily. So
right, so if he jumps to 147, it will be hard for him to go back to 140. I'm
maybe,
guessing.
maybe not.
Yeah.
He's one of the most. I've worked in a lot of the pro sports. He's one of the most remarkable athletes I've ever seen. He's a total chameleon with his body. He can change it into anything he wants. So I mean, he could go up to 47 and come back. He could go up to 54 and come back. Will he want to? I don't know, but he
Oh,
can. He's certainly got that kind of skill.
okay. What fight do you think will be harder for Teofimo Lopez? Uh, Subriel Matias, that's one of them. The winner of Cruz and Rolly, or Devin Haney?
Oh, I don't know. Those. I don't think any of those guys can beat him. Yeah, I mean, to him, I think those are just guys. I mean, Matias is a come forward guy with some power. He usually beats that pretty easily. Haney is just a slick guy but can't punch. And I don't think Haney's slicker than Teofimo, and he can punch. And then Rolly and Pitbull, I don't even think they're on our list. I don't see those guys. I mean,
What
him and
happened?
Rolly are close friends, so I don't think they're getting in the ring unless it's something that benefits both of them massively.
Well, they've been attacking each other lately, and not in a good manner. So I think that
Well,
friendship is.
they were close friends a while ago, but yeah, I mean, no offense to Rolly and Pitbull, they're both nice kids, but I think they're a league below him.
Okay.
And and definitely a league below where he's trying to make fights. He's trying to fight all the best people.
Okay. And just it's this question: if Subriel Matias fought Devin Haney, who do you think would win that fight?
I don't know. Probably Haney, but 6-5.
6-5. So you do kind of rank Subriel Matias as a dangerous fighter.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I mean, I don't think he's, obviously I don't think he's better than Teofimo, but is he dangerous? Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Oh, okay, okay. So I guess this is the next question that I have for you because there's Subriel Matias fans in here. We got Teofimo fans, so we got Devin Haney fans here as well. All right, so this is what Subriel Matias team said. So I want to know what you have to say. But Subriel Matias team said that you guys sent an offer to fight in Super Bowl weekend. The issue was that he had a hand injury, and it almost seems like if it was strategic to avoid fighting him. Okay, that's what they were saying.
right.
Could you please elaborate on this point?
I mean, first of all, think about how ludicrous that story is, and how would we know he had a hand injury? I'll tell you exactly what happened. We've been in Top Rank office. Top Rank asked who he wanted to fight, and him and his father both said Matias.
Okay.
So they contacted Matias. He said he had a hurt hand. So then they came back with some names, of which they were strong on Ortiz because it was the easiest fight to make, and we were short on time. This was mid-late December when we decided to fight in the Super Bowl weekend. So Ortiz was the easiest fight to get made. But the idea that we were, planning ahead and trying to avoid Matias is ludicrous. We wouldn't have offered him the fight if we weren't planning on fighting him.
So Teofimo Lopez wanted to fight Subriel Matias, and was it really
him and his father both very much? They felt like they saw something. They felt like they could expose it, and he was 100%. That was the guy they wanted.
Did Subriel Matias team ever contact you guys?
Not that I know of, but that doesn't mean they didn't speak to somebody. But I've not spoke to them.
So you didn't speak to anybody on their team, that nobody called you from their end. And so I said, okay, we want Teofimo Lopez. It was basically Teofimo and his father who wanted to make the fight, but not. It doesn't seem.
I mean, I'm assuming Brad Goodman or Carl Moretti contacted him. Because we were in a Top Rank meeting, and that's who the Lopez's wanted, and so Top Rank went and tried to get him.
Okay. Would Teofimo be willing to fight Matias in the Madison, let's say the Madison Square Garden for a unification fight in June or July? Would he be willing to do that? Since
I'm sure that'll be
Liam
on the
Paro,
list. I'm sure that'll be on the list of possible people. Yes.
okay,
We're not going to commit to anything right now,
right.
but yeah, I mean, he's on the short list of people. Sooner or later we're going to fight him. I don't know if it happens in June or July. I don't think we're going to be in the Garden in June or July. So, I'm not sure yet who the June or July opponent will be.
Do you think that would make money if Teofimo fought Subriel Matias at the Madison Square Garden, considering how many Puerto Ricans and also people from Honduras live in New York City and the tri-state area?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's better putting it in New York than anywhere else. Yeah, and I'm not trying to be a jerk. I don't know that Matias brings more fans than anybody else did. I mean, it does. If I wanted to bring fans, we'd fight Ryan Garcia. And nobody else really moves the needle like that, though. I mean, we just fought a Puerto Rican in, okay, I guess that was Las Vegas, but still. But yeah, people come to watch Teofimo.
Okay, so you're saying they wouldn't really watch Matias in the Madison Square Garden?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying I don't think they'd watch it any more than they would anybody else. I mean,
Okay.
people are going to come to see Teofimo. Will some people come to see Matias? Yeah, but some people would come to see Ramirez. Some people would come to see Barboza. Some people would come to see Raleigh. Some people would come to see anybody. I don't know that Matias is a big draw yet.
Okay.
He's certainly a very fine fighter. I'm not trying to make him sound bad. I just don't know that he's a big draw yet.
Okay. And talking about Ryan, what happened with that? Because did you guys? I heard Teofimo said that he was offered something from the Ryan camp that wasn't really worth his while. But what happened? Did Ryan ever try to contact you guys? What happened?
I mean, no, there were just some misunderstandings there. We would love to make the Ryan Garcia fight. It's unfortunate that he's fighting Haney, but hopefully somewhere down the line we'll get in the ring with Garcia.
Why do you think it's a misfortune that he's fighting Haney?
Because I'd rather him be fighting us.
But he did try to approach you guys first. Is it because that's what I?
No, we approached them.
Oh, you approached Ryan first.
Well, okay. Yeah. I mean, the problem we had here is that there's been friction between Ryan and Golden Boy. And because we're with Top Rank, we have to work through Golden Boy. We can't just run around talking to individual fighters. And so somewhere along the line, it fell apart.
Okay, I see. All right, so here's another fighter, and there's a fight that a lot of people want to see. Watch Teofimo Lopez versus Devin Haney is a match that the boxing world definitely wants to watch. Has Bill Haney ever sent an offer to fight you guys?
He's never sent an offer. He said he wants to fight us and then ask for a lot of money. Right now, with pay-per-view in America the way it is, I think that fight is too expensive for America, and the only way it happens is in Saudi Arabia. But we've always been willing to fight Haney. We'll always be willing to fight Haney. Those are two guys that are absolutely going to fight at some point. We're not going to take less money than Haney. And the money he's asking for, I think, makes it prohibitive for American television.
How much money did he offer?
You did not listen to me. They've never offered us anything.
Oh, it's okay. They never offered.
For most of his career, Haney hasn't even had a promoter, so he can't offer anything. But we've never had a firm offer from anybody associated with the Haney team, whether he was with Matchroom, when he was with Top Rank. We've never had an offer to fight Devin Haney.
Okay. And what about you guys sending an offer to Haney?
I believe that there have been discussions between Top Rank and the Haneys more than once about them fighting us, and that the amount that they wanted was far greater than what Top Rank was willing to pay.
Okay. So you're saying that fight would happen in Saudi Arabia. That's what you guys are.
I'm saying for. Like if people held a gun to my head right now and said, how do you make this fight? I would call the Crown Prince, because I don't think anybody in America is going to pay for that fight.
Okay, so I have a clip of a video where I have Teofimo Sr., the dad of Teofimo Lopez, telling Bill Haney, and and they were kind of arguing, and he said
Right.
that after the fight that they wanted to make the fight for 20 million. It wasn't fight hype. Uh, was this something for real? I mean, does the father want 20 million to fight Devin Haney? I mean, is it a $20 million fight?
I'm not sure what you're referring to, and I don't think anybody's getting 20 million for that. But we've certainly never asked for 20 million for that. I
Okay.
don't, you're talking about two very proud fathers arguing in a video. It's not evidence of anything.
Okay, so you're saying he just said 20 million just to say 20 million. That's
I don't know why he said that.
Okay.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Okay. So if this were to happen, and this is a question I have, do you think the future of boxing is going to be in Saudi Arabia?
No, I think this is a temporary thing until people forget that Adnan Khashoggi got chopped up in the Saudi embassy.
Okay. So the amount of money that they're offering in Saudi Arabia is obviously way higher than what is being offered in many in the United States. But do you think that could potentially affect fights in America if they get more fights there for higher amounts of money, kind of overpricing the market? You see what I'm saying? Like, you think that will be a
It would
problem?
only affect the stupid fighters. I mean, the truth is, it's not real money over there, right? They're using basically state funds for public relations. The promoters here in America have to try to earn a living. The networks here in America have to try to earn a living. So any fighter that believes he should be paid on the Saudi scale when he's in America is just going to be out of work because the Americans can't afford that.
Hmm.
I mean, the
So
Saudis can't afford that. I mean, they can afford it, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they're losing tons of money. If Top Rank or Matchroom or something were to do what the Saudis were going to do, they'd be bankrupt in a month or two. But the
wow.
Saudis can afford to lose that kind of money.
Okay, wow, that's something to think about. What do you think of as far as other fighters that are in your stable? I mean, do you manage what other fighters do you manage, David?
Well, we have about 70 fighters. We have
Let's say
May 18th, Giovanni Santillan will be fighting in San Diego hopefully for a world title, depending on what Bud does. We just had Tiger Johnson fight this week in
he's a good fighter.
New
I've seen,
York.
I
Yeah,
watched him.
2020 Olympian. Yeah, we had Javi Martinez on Teofimo's undercard, win a very strong fight, who was the 2020 Olympic trials champion, but because of COVID didn't get to go to the Olympics. So, yeah, I mean, we represent a lot of people. We've got David. Go ahead.
Tiger Johnson is in 140, right? He's lightweight.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what his ranking is right now? Because he looks good.
Yeah, Tiger's not ranked yet because we haven't won any of the regional belts yet, but that's probably next.
Okay.
I think that's his next step.
Do you think he's going to become like a world champion? Because I mean, for what I've seen, he does look really good. You guys,
I
have
think
a
he's
good
the
fighter.
top 5 prospect in the world right now, and I think he absolutely becomes world champion.
Okay. As far as other fighters, do you think? I mean, what do you think is the situation with these organizations not, let's say, activating their mandatory? So in the case of Barbosa, they're obviously I don't know if they're going to activate their mandatory, but Sander Martin has the same situation with Devin Haney. Why do you think these mandatories? It seems like Canelo's having David Benavidez is having the same issue with Canelo Alvarez. What do you think about that?
About which part? I mean, mandatories are mandatories. You know, they rotate from group to group. They come up after you get your voluntary defenses. They're part of life. They're to be expected.
Okay, so if they activated a mandatory with Barboza, would you guys fight Barboza or you just vacate? What do you think would happen?
I don't know. It would really depend on whether or not that happened.
Right. Financially, he probably wouldn't bring too much to the table, right? I mean,
I wouldn't think so.
But did Jermaine Ortiz also bring something financially to the table?
I mean, probably not, but he was quick. We literally had 5-6 weeks to put this whole fight together.
Right.
And Jermaine was there. He was ready, willing, and able. So that made him much more attractive than everybody else.
Okay, this is a question I had, and this is after you guys fought Vasyl Lomachenko. This is actually a question that I wanted to resolve. I wasn't really sure at the time, but after Teofimo Lopez beat Vasyl Lomachenko, did he ever request the WBC to have the franchise designation, or did he just get the belt?
Well, he did have the franchise designation.
So it got transferred to Teofimo Lopez. So Teofimo Lopez was the franchise champion. And okay,
we won that belt. Yes.
Okay. And did he ever lose that? Well, I guess Kambosos beat him, so Kambosos got the designation.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. As far as I'm going to give you a number from 10 to 0, and you tell me how good you think these fighters are. Just your personal opinion. So let's start with Ronda Romero. 10 being the highest as far as good and 0 the worst. What will you rank Ronda Romero as a fighter?
Well, there's no way to. So I'll tell you the 1 to 10 system I use.
Okay, go ahead.
A 1 is a guy that gets in a ring. A 2 is a guy that has 20 or more fights. A 3 is a guy that wins a regional title. A 4 is a guy that wins a national title, or in the Europe or somewhere a continental. A 5 is a world champion. 6 through 10s are various levels of world champions, right? In that system, Rolly's a 5 or a 6. Now, I know people can be like, oh, he just said he's only a 5. He's an average fighter. It's not. My system, 5s are world champions. So, I think Rolly's a 5 or a 6. Maybe he finishes his career, when we look back and say he was a 7. But I don't think he's going to be an 8, 9, or a 10. Those are Hall of Famers.
And do you think Rolly will? Who you think wins that fight, Rolly or Cruz?
Rolly.
Oh, you think Rolly? Okay.
Yeah, I think he'll outwork him.
Okay, if let's say Cruz beats Rolly, would a unification with Cruz is that something that would be in the table?
Obviously it'd be on the table. Yeah. Will it happen? I don't know. But yeah, it's something that would be considered.
Okay. And here's another fighter, Gary Antoine Russell Jr. What do you think of him?
Oh, I love him. So, because he's been so held back, right now his career's only been about a 4. But if Gary ended up in an 8 or a 9, I'd believe it. I think he's going to be a great world champion. I think he's a special kid, very intelligent. Tremendous fighter. It's a shame he's so unnoticed. But yeah, that's a really special kid.
Okay, so here's a good one. There's been a lot of talks back and forth between Gary Antoine and Subriel Matias. If they were ever to fight, who you think wins that fight?
That's a great fight. I would give Gary the advantage, but it's going to be tough for him. He's never fought anybody as good as Matias. Matias has fought better people. But Gary was an Olympian and fought a lot of big names in the amateurs. I saw him beat Richardson Hitchens senseless in an amateur fight. But those are 2 tough guys who aren't going to take a step backwards. It'd be a great fight. But I'd probably take Gary, but very slim. Same as Matias could beat any of those guys.
Okay. You think in a knockout? Probably.
Yeah, probably, but you never know. Those 2 can both take a punch also. So maybe a great fight.
All right. What about, now you mentioned him, Richardson Hitchens. What do you think about him? Because he seems like he's coming up.
Again, what he's accomplished so far makes him about a 4 in the book. I do think he'll at least win a world title. I think he probably ends up about a 6. I think he'll be a guy that wins a world title and defends it once or twice, but I don't think he's going to be a great champion.
Okay, so you don't think he's a great champion? Another question that I had.
By the way, I'm not picking on him. He's a very nice kid. His manager's a good friend of mine. I hope he becomes a great champion, but
Yeah.
I
Healthy competition.
yeah, I mean, I like Gary much more than him,
Okay.
but that's not a knock. I like little Gary more than 99% of the fighters out there.
Okay. And I guess another question that I have would be this whole thing with Keyshawn Davis. It seems like Keyshawn Davis was releasing sparring footage of he beating up Teofimo and or his father. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, that all happened many, many years ago, and I don't think that Keyshawn and his team's behavior that day is really something that they want out there in the public. I mean, maybe they think they do, but I don't think it's where he looks his best. He's a talented kid. He should stay focused on his career. I don't think what happened that day speaks highly of him or anybody that was involved.
I see. And as far as let's take away, I know you managed Teofimo Lopez, but taking away Teofimo Lopez, who's your favorite fighter to watch right now outside of Teo?
Favorite that I represent or that I don't represent?
That you don't represent.
What's his name?
Who
He's
do you
fighting.
like?
Oscar Valdez.
You like Oscar Valdez?
I love watching Oscar Valdez.
Okay, he's a straight fighter, straight shooter. Just okay.
I enjoy him immensely.
Okay. As far as just in general, and this is just boxing, do you think it's good to have 4 belts, or would it be? I mean, do you think this is a good idea to have that many belts? Because it seems very confusing for the average fan.
No, I don't think it's a good idea. And I think, if I were a younger man, I'd try to do this. What these kids need are a union. They're the only pro sport that doesn't have a union. These kids are paid on 1099s. They rarely get training money. If they do get training money and the fight falls out, they have to return it. If they've taken off work or whatever and the fight falls out, it's tough shit. They don't get anything. They don't have health care. They don't have anything. If they had a union, they could solve a lot of those problems. And the way I would finance the union if I were doing it is by having a union belt. And I would have all the fighters consider that to be the only belt. But I'm a dreamer and I'm too old to do any of that, so it's probably never going to happen.
Okay. I guess if we had one belt, so that's what you're kind of proposing, kind of just one belt, right? Like the National Boxing Association, kind of what we had in the past.
Right.
So, okay. So that's what and what about having less divisions?
I don't think there's a problem with the divisions. And what people don't remember is that even back in the day, the so-called catch weights, 140, 126, 154, those came about because people were scheduling at those weights anyway. So what would happen is somebody like Rocky Graziano or somebody would win the middleweight title, which is 160, but they're really a 154. Well, they would just schedule themselves against other 154s. And they would sometimes even contract the weight that low. So the reason that these evolved and came about, these middle weights in there, the 54s, the 40s, the 26s, is because they sort of, not 26, 30, they existed anyway. So I think they serve a purpose. I don't have any problem with the extra weight classes.
Okay. And as far as and this is something technical, Teofimo Lopez seems like he had some sort of issues, fighting the style that Jermaine Ortiz, brought in the table, and also, we have Sandor Martin that seemed like a kind of a complicated style, fighting backwards. Do you think Devin Haney fights like they do? Same kind of style?
Possibly, but I don't. And I get where you're going with this, but I don't see it as a big issue, and I'll tell you why. Martin, we had some injuries, and he went in there with probably less than a full camp. Also, that opponent had been switched. We started that camp going for Pedraza. So it was a radical difference between Pedraza and Martin. So I think some of the frustration of Martin was being unprepared. The frustration with Ortiz was that that's not who we expected. He in every single way, he completely switched who he was, right? So, but Devin Haney, that's how he fights. I mean, so we're going to prepare for Devin Haney to be Devin Haney. And I can promise you he's not going to come in there as a come-forward orthodox fighter. And if he does, Gordo will knock him out. So, I don't see it as a problem. Gordo doesn't have a problem with the style. I mean, and he doesn't have a problem with southpaws. Both Roberts, Taylor and Loma were southpaws. His two biggest wins. I think it was just one of them was because of various physical issues he had, and the switch in opponents, we were probably unprepared. And then Ortiz, just caught us by surprise. Nobody expected him to do what he did.
Okay. And do you think Devin Haney is more technical than Sandor Martin and also Jermaine Ortiz, or is he at the same level, you think, technically?
Oh, no, he's definitely a better fighter than those guys, I think. But he's not going to have the element of surprise. And again, I don't want to put down Jermaine Ortiz, but I thought we won practically every round. I think people were giving Ortiz rounds because in every round, Ortiz did better than people thought he would do. But that's not the same thing as winning the round. So, yeah, I mean, if all Ortiz has got to do is fight better than people thought he would, 12-0. He won every round. But if he beats Teofimo, I don't know, maybe the fifth. I mean, I had that fight like 10-2, 11-1. I didn't think it was close at all. Frustrating, yes. Close, no.
Okay.
And nobody has ever won a world title doing what Jermaine Ortiz did. Nobody's ever run backwards like that. Even in the era of the more defensive fighters like the Willie Peps and stuff, if you watch any tape, those guys aren't running backwards.
Willie Pep beat Jackie Graves and he beat him then almost the entire fight, but in one round he actually didn't even throw a punch.
It turns out that's a myth. They found a film of that. He did throw punches, but
I've never heard of that.
Never won a world title doing what Jermaine Ortiz did.
Okay.
It would.
Well, they used to clinch a lot also in the back in the day too, so that probably wouldn't be too appealing today, I'm supposing. But okay, so as far as so would you say that the best fight to be made for Teofimo Lopez would be Devin Haney or Subriel Matias? Which one of the two you think would be the better fight for Teofimo Lopez in 140?
Ryan Garcia. I have to choose between those two. It doesn't really matter. I mean, we're going to have to fight both those guys at some point or another. The order that they come in doesn't matter to me. We're going to fight Haney and Matias before it's all over.
Okay. Do you think Ryan? Okay, so now that you mentioned that, what do you think of Ryan and Haney? Who's going to win that fight?
I mean, I think Haney's probably a significant favorite.
Okay, so you think that Devin Haney will be. So if Ryan were to lose against Devin Haney and he also lost against Gervonta Davis, you guys would rather take that fight before Devin Haney?
Oh, that's why I would have liked to fight him now. Because obviously, if he keeps getting beat, it's harder and harder to fight him. But
right.
Ryan does. You talked about Matias bringing fans. Ryan brings fans, lots of fans. He's good for boxing, so we should all be rooting for him. I mean,
do you think he's good for commercial boxing or for orthodox boxing?
What do you mean?
Because Ryan, let's say for example, if we go by orthodox boxing, the mandatory for Devin Haney would be Sandor Martin, and if you go by orthodox boxing, then the mandatory of Teofimo Lopez would be Arnold Barboza. But if you go by commercial boxing and just picking the fighters that you want in that moment, then that Ryan Garcia is probably a dream come true. Would
all boxing commercial. Orthodox boxing is a video game. I mean, there is no. If the promoters can't pay for the fight, it doesn't happen.
Okay.
If you're telling Top Rank that they can fight Ryan Garcia or they can fight Arnold Barboza, I can guarantee you that they're going to say, we want to fight Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody involved. I mean, there's no,
Right. Right.
It's it's the difference between $100 million fight and a $6 million fight.
Right. It's just where the money is. And as far as Gervonta Davis, did something ever mature from that? Because that would have been a really good fight too with Gervonta Davis. Is that ever
They
popped
know
out?
they know we are willing, ready, and able to fight him. I assume when they're ready to fight us, they'll let us know.
So you guys are willing to fight him, but do you think he doesn't want to fight Teofimo? Do you think he's scared of Teofimo Lopez? Or
Yeah, he was scared. They said they've still got business they're taking care of, and so I don't think, I don't think we're on their immediate horizon. I'm certainly not saying he's scared. I'm just saying, I don't think it's a fight that happens this year, but it'll happen. Okay.
So you think that fight will definitely will happen for sure? That would be, I mean, that would be an interesting fight.
Be a great fight.
Okay. All right. So Dave, anything else you want to say as far as and thank you for having this interview. Like that clarified a lot of a lot of questions that boxing fans had. So that was a great interview. So thank you. But do you want to say anything else there?
No,
Dave?
thanks for having me, Jimmy. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, David, for being here, and and we'll talk to you soon. I'll maybe some other time and ask more
Right.
questions.
Okay.
All right, David.
Thanks a lot. Talk to you
Enjoy
soon.
the rest, team. Yeah, have a good one. Hey, bye-bye. All right, so lo habéis escuchado a todos. Tenemos aquí a David McWater y él pues ha estado, he's been speaking Spanish, but he's been here and clarified a lot of the questions that I had. So now at 6 p.m. Western time, we're also going to have Alberto Puello here. So he'll be invited here, and I have some questions for him as well. So thank you, everybody, for watching the channel. Subscribe, like, and also become part of our community here in Golden Era Boxing. And also check out our website, goldeneraboxing.com, for more news and stories. And, we are the best channel for a reason. All right, peace out. Give us a like, and I'll see you in the next video. V's, baby.